Folks, we got a red dot. Welcome back to 3-0 to go, Akron's hottest and fastest growing show. I'm your host, Hank Forrester, coming to you live from Amourgis and Associates Studios. Happy Christmas Eve, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We've been so excited sharing those holiday light loops with everybody, and the feedback that we've gotten on the Christmas light experience across the 3-0 has been absolutely amazing. So thank you. We appreciate you guys enjoying that alongside of us. And again, we're going to be giving away the swag pack giveaway on Sunday after the Browns game. All right? But today, we've got a special guest right here in Akron, Ohio. We've got Zack Ward in studio.
Hello, everyone.
And a lot of you will know him initially from way back in the day as Scut Farkus from A Christmas Story. And here he is in Akron, Ohio today, so we wanted to say hi and bring him on cam and get him a chance to share what he's doing and give you an update on life from the life of Zack Ward. All right? So here we go, the life of Zack Ward. All right, so thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. I come to Akron actually quite often because Julius Amourgis, who owns Amourgis and Associates, he's my oldest friend. He's like my brother. His kids are like my nieces. So every chance I get to come back to Ohio, I do.
Okay, so we were talking before we went on cam here. You landed what became an iconic role in the fabric, not only of America, but also in the fabric of the 3-3-0 in terms of the Cleveland connection.
Right.
So why don't you talk us through that? First of all, how did that even happen to begin with?
So my mom's an actress, and I grew up following her around backstage on the different plays that she would do, or just movie sets or commercials. And around the age of 8, I decided that that's something I wanted to do. When I was about 10 years old, I started auditioning for commercials, and I spent about a year auditioning. I didn't get anything for an entire year, and then I got, I think it was a Dolly Madison ice cream commercial, and there's also a Jell-O commercial. The Jell-O commercial you can actually find on YouTube. It's 1980s, fantastically horrible, little redhead boy with a bow tie eating Jell-O, making this face. So that was one of my first jobs. And then when I was 13, there was something, there was a casting call for this movie called A Christmas Story. And it was called a cattle call, meaning it's not like a personalized audition, like, oh, nice to meet you, come in, do this. There's hundreds of kids lined up outside. You walk in, they film the audition on a VHS camera, new technology back at the time. Millennials, kids, look it up, Google that. And so you'd walk in and you'd say, get over here. Nah, you're Aunt Tilly. Great, next. And you'd walk out.
Okay.
So it goes from like 300-400 kids down to 100, down to 50, down to 10, and then I get the job. And then I get the job, very excited about it, first movie I'm ever doing. And I go to set when I'm already in wardrobe, and Bob Clark, the director, is sitting down like you are, and we're standing up, and he sees that Yano Anaya, who plays Grover Dill, he's about this tall to me.
Right.
And the director looks at us and goes, oh, because he had never seen that I was taller. And he says, okay, you get his lines, he gets yours. And so then I was always Scut Farkus, but then Scut Farkus became the lead bully, not the toady.
Wow.
So that's what kind of changed that whole process for me. And then playing that role for me was kind of revenge, because I went to 8 different schools before junior high, so I was a new kid named Zach with red hair and didn't play hockey because I grew up in Canada, so that was a thing. And I had a miniature poodle named Tinkerbell. The reason why is when I was a 7-year-old boy, my hero was Peter Pan, and Peter Pan's sidekick was Tinkerbell. So I thought, since I look like Peter Pan, then I should have a dog named Tinkerbell. And my mom was a hippie who didn't think that we should maybe adjust that, so I didn't get beat up all the time. So I did, and so I knew a lot about bullies. So I was imitating those bullies on camera, and that was my revenge. So that's how I got the job.
Okay, well that's amazing, and it's interesting, right? Because I'm sure you get asked that question a lot.
Yep.
And so there's a lot of actors that start out as children, mm-hmm. and then we get to kind of watch their careers morph.
Right.
Some folks continue on, and then they have lengthy careers like yourself. I'm thinking like Drew Barrymore and people like that. and some people don't, right? And they're just known as that child actor. So, once that happened, okay, when did you guys realize? When did it happen where you thought, this is a real thing?
It's an interesting question because it wasn't, because when A Christmas Story came out, it did not do well in theaters.
Right.
It came out for like 2 weeks and then it was kicked out of theaters. And then it came out the following year and it was kicked out of theaters. So it never had that massive impact like a Home Alone. So Home Alone came out and did blockbuster in the theaters, right? So they knew right there that it was a hit. But Christmas Story didn't have that. Christmas Story slowly built. So there was never one moment where you looked around and said, this is a Christmas classic.
Right.
It never had that level of success. It just kind of eked its way out into the culture of America, and it was really decided, it was chosen by Americans to become their film. I think it was around the 20th anniversary of the film that it really hit me that this is something that people have made their own. It was about the 20th anniversary that I realized how iconic all this had become and how embedded in Christmas in America it had melded itself.
So initially, you probably didn't have to deal with that. What a child actor would have to deal with.
No, nobody cared.
Yeah,
nobody cared. Like my Macaulay Culkin blew up, and everybody, he's hanging out with Michael Jackson.
Right.
I was in Toronto, Canada, going to my high school, and I'd be walking down the hallway, and I'd get turtled. Do you know what turtled is?
Maybe.
Okay, so it's a hockey term where they reach and grab the back of your sweater, pull it over your head, and punch you in the face.
Nice.
So that's how famous I was. And they'd be like, "Oh yeah, dude, I saw your Doritos commercial. What up, wuss?" Boom. That was.
Jeez.
Yay. So no one was asking for my autograph. No one was giving me money. I wasn't going to fancy events. My acting was something that also paid the bills when I was a kid. So if I made money, it went towards extravagances like rent, food, heat, clothing.
Awesome.
Those things, because my mom was an actress, and that means you don't have a job all the time. So the family all comes together to dinner.
Right.
That was the big luxury.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. So fast forward. Obviously, you grind out that career and you keep going. And the next time that I noticed you was my wife Kate we loved you guys in Titus. Yeah. Titus was a great comedy. We were real sad to see it
me too.
It kind of ran short, right?
Me too. Yeah,
but I remember going, I know who that guy is. I know who that guy is. It's that recognition, right? And I go, honey, that's Scut Farkus. And she was like, oh my gosh. And then you had that incredible dynamic. The two of you working together was just awesome. And then after that, you go, my daughter's here with me. Which,
my daughters.
Yeah, we've chronicled her. She's in a theater, and she was going to be a theater major, but COVID messed all that up.
Yeah.
So point being, you've done a lot of work in kind of like horror movie genre, zombie type genre type stuff. So why don't you tell us, what's the modern career look like right now?
Wow, that's an interesting question. The modern career of a working character actor like myself is take the job that you get.
Okay.
There are jobs that I pass on, just that I'm not interested in spending my time doing. But, like for example, Z Nation, which was a sci-fi show, correct? That was made by a company called Asylum. I knew the guys who made that, who owned that company. I auditioned for the role, and I got to shoot it up in Spokane, Washington. My wife's family lives in Seattle, Washington, so it was a perfect no-brainer. I like zombie and genre pieces because they have high stakes, they've got lots of emotional arc, and they're fun and cool, and I get to kind of be a badass, but
and you were. Dead. And I watched some snippets of it. She's seen the whole thing. Yeah. Well, I went and I watched some snippets to prepare for this, and I was like, this is basically what Scut Farkus would be like had he grown up. He's this mean bully just a badass taking people out, right?
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. So What if you wouldn't mind telling us? You have been affiliated with the Cleveland Christmas Story house. Can you explain that to us?
Sure. So years ago, the guy who owned the original house. So if you go down to Cleveland and you see the Christmas Story house, the only shots that was used for was inside the house shooting out to the street, or from outside the street shooting the house. But the interior shots in the kitchen and the bedroom, those were all on a stage in Toronto. So this house was owned for years by some dude, and then some dude put it up on eBay. And then this other dude, Brian Jones, went on eBay and bought the house, and then turned that into what it is now. Basically before its time, very much of an Instagram style museum, hands-on experience where you can walk through and pose with stuff and touch the leg lamp or hide underneath the sink like Randy. So he had invited us to come be there and help promote it, and that's back still when this was about 14 years ago, and this was still something that nobody really could put their fingers on. And we were there doing some interviews, and I walked outside onto the porch, and I saw, 5,000 people lined up to come in, and like it blows your mind,
Half of them wearing pink bunny suits, probably.
Yeah, exactly. So that whole experience, they've got the house, which looks amazing, the Bumpus' house next door, the museum across the street. I think they even own the local bar right there. And Cleveland has changed so much.
It has.
When we shot the original movie, it was so depressed in that area. There's so many homeless in the streets, and that you really couldn't leave the hotel after 6 o'clock at night because it was dangerous. And that hotel, I don't know the name of it, but it's the big fancy hotel downtown Cleveland. Do you know the name of it?
There could be the Key Center, could be Tower City.
It's connected to an underground mall.
It's probably Tower City. So I think it's
and it's very ornate. Like the foyer and the area around the fireplace are 30-foot ceilings.
Yep.
Okay, so back when we shot there, half those floors were boarded up, just plywood covering all the windows.
Okay.
And those giant, beautiful windows in that foyer with the fireplace, all covered up with plywood, all just locked off because the entire building was almost going to be torn down.
The Higby store is in the movie, right?
The Higby store is in the movie, but Higby's is actually from Indiana, and so they remade it over here with a department store that I think had gone bankrupt.
Okay.
Yeah, though it changed a lot. Guys, it was. I'm talking to the daughters now.
Yeah.
It was it's amazing to see how beautiful Cleveland is, and I'm so happy for them. Because when we shot the exterior of that house, it was depressing, man. It was a very messed up, lower income neighborhood that was suffering a lot, and so was all of Cleveland. And to see how much has changed and how much better people are doing, it's really cool.
So what's next for you? What do you got coming down the pike?
What do I got coming down the pike? Well, I've just directed a feature film, my second, and we're posting that, which means doing out the VFX, the color correction, sound design, score, all that stuff that you don't think about when you watch a movie, you just accept it. So I'm doing that. It's called Patsy Lee and the Keeper of the Five Kingdoms, and that is a magical adventure family film with James Hong, the 92-year-old Chinese man who was in Big Trouble in Little China, as well as Blade Runner, and has more credits than anybody else in history of film. So we're working on that. I've written another script, which is a book adaptation of the book series called Going Home. And then outside of that, my wife shows up tonight, which is great. Can't wait to see her. And my father has Alzheimer's. So long-term care, he got diagnosed in July of 2020. And so I'm working with the Alzheimer's Association to raise money and awareness of Alzheimer's, because it affects 6 million people in the country. And then there's another 16 million people, friends and family, who are taking care of those people with Alzheimer's. And Alzheimer's sucks. If Alzheimer's was a person, I would kill it slowly with a knife and then bash its head in with a brick. I really hate Alzheimer's. So if you ever get a chance, please go to alz.org. Here, the thing that's crazy is that if you have kids, and you do, and you hope that their lives are better than yours, which you do, so you hope they live longer and healthier lives, which you shall, then that you don't want them to spend the last 30 years of their lives sitting in a hole, wearing a diaper, not knowing their own names. And that's what happens. So if Elon Musk, I know he's trying to go to Mars, that's awesome. But how about take, Bezos and Gates and Elon Musk can take one tiny fart of their money and put how about together they put $50 million into Alzheimer's research and this problem would be solved like that.
Well, and it's interesting, our local connection with that is I'm the voice of the Portage Lakes Browns backers for the Browns game day experience, and whenever we do all our 50-50 stuff and all of our proceeds, it all goes to Alzheimer's research.
Right.
Because the owner of the bar, one of her family had Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
So we are connected there. So
that's awesome.
We appreciate that. All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us today.
My pleasure.
And I couldn't think of a better person or a better guest to interview than someone that was on A Christmas Story on Christmas Eve.
My pleasure. Listen, jerk.
Uncle. All right. All right. So, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. This has been so much fun. Merry Christmas, everybody. Tonight, just a reminder, Jerry from Welcome to Akron, the podcast, will be doing a live book reading for the kiddos at 8 p.m. About the Christmas Snow Caterpillar, whatever the name of the book is. So tune in for that. And then again, I'll be doing that giveaway on Sunday. That'll probably be my next live video. But until then, I don't know where I'm going, but there ain't no sense of being late. Everybody out there, say goodnight, Shirley.
Good night, Shirley.
Good night, Shirley.